Greetings, Star Warriors. No, it still doesn't feel right. Anyway, hello! Alex here recording a little message for you while I have a second before boarding starts at this Star Tours terminal. Anyway, reason is I wanted you to know you're about to hear the first collection of Inside the Insider episodes that Swagbox has released to the public. Inside the Insider is like a cousin to the main show, except instead of every piece of Old Canon Star Wars media, we're covering one issue of the official Star Wars fan magazine, the Star Wars Insider, alongside it. Sign up now on Patreon at patreon.com/SWOCBC to get one every time we release a main series episode, or just sit back, relax, and listen to it here every once in a while when a new chunk drops. Anyway, that's me, my shuttle's boarding, gotta go, but maybe I'll see you soon in another galaxy at another time. Enjoy the show. Swagbox Episode 9, Inside the Insider has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence. Issue 1, you are clear for takeoff. Original publication date of fall 1987. This is Control. Thanks for listening. God dang, look at all those Star Warriors.
Yeah,
Oh, man, jeez, that's a lot of Star Warriors.
Greetings, Star Warriors.
I can't. The problem, I'm trying to do like a
droid voice.
Yeah, but then I realized I did.
I use a computer
voice.
for mine. Yeah,
they actually all the droids sound like more unsure of themselves. They're like, no, fuck it, I'm done.
You tried. It was a bit. You tried.
I got two in my own head.
I'm gonna explain what this show is one more time to everybody. Welcome. If you're listening to this, you're either listening to it seconds after the Empire Strikes Back episode finishes,
or before.
But you really should listen to it afterwards.
There are times where I've tried to hit the rewind the podcast, but I jump forward to the one guy.
Yeah, welcome,
Daryl. Hey,
Daryl.
Daryl, welcome to the podcast.
How come you got to do it perfectly?
I didn't. I just have more confidence than you. The thing is so crazy about this show is we're kind of mirroring, I wanted to do some sort of mini extra episode thing, and I didn't want it to just be total bullshit and against our mission. So I thought it'd be really cool to kind of alongside our tracking the fictional Star Wars universe. We're gonna jump in. This is in 1987 that we're gonna jump in, and I did this on purpose because
I was born then.
Well, because what it is we're about to jump into, this show's called Inside the Insider because it's named after the Star Wars Insider, but we're not going to even get to the Insider for 23 issues of the Lucasfilm fan magazine, or the Lucasfilm fan club magazine. And that's where this started, and it's actually a continuation of a letters column from some other newsletter that was even before this. So basically what happened here was this was started up kind of as part of the 10th anniversary celebration of Star Wars. And we're going to start here because we're going to kind of catch up to ourselves as we go, because we're going to only do one issue every time we put out an episode of the regular podcast. So this is fall 1987. I don't know what the next one is, but it's the very next issue that came out. So we're going to be going at a smaller pace, 12 issues in a year, yada, yada, yada.
And this is also the 10-year anniversary of
Star Wars as a franchise.
And it's weird. One of the notes I initially wrote down while reading this was, it's been 10 years since, that's when you think about the time between the first movie and this.
Yeah.
And how long that actually is versus the lives of us.
Yeah.
But we babes.
We almost started the New Canon book club 10 years ago.
Really?
Is that true?
What year did it start?
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's move on.
Okay, so to get us started, each of us is the way this is normally going to go, each of us is going to do one or two articles, depending on how long they are. We're not doing every article in every issue. You can go find these if you really want to somewhere on the internet.
And not every one of them is
gold.
Even it's really interesting.
Yeah.
But not that interesting that I
purposely went through to choose ones that kind of give us a slice of life of what's going on in the moment.
Yes, there's an article about. There's articles about other movies, Willow is in this, or a movie by Coppola, and you're just okay, but it's not Star Wars. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what this is. This is the whole Lucasfilm fan club. So all the stuff that Lucasfilm is doing, you are automatically a fan of that if you like Star Wars. So here's to get us started with the very first thing. I'm going to read verbatim a letter from George Lucas that starts off this magazine just to get us going. It goes, "Dear Lucasfilm fan club members.
How dare you?
Welcome. 10 years ago when Star Wars premiered, I never dreamed that I would be writing a letter to members of a Lucasfilm fan club. What a decade this has been. As we enter the second decade of Star Wars, it is a very exciting time for Lucasfilm. 2 new feature films, Willow and Tucker, are in production for release next summer, and all of the other divisions of Lucasfilm are hard at work to help enhance the quality of entertainment that comes to you from so many sources. You'll learn more about all of this in the pages and the issues that follow. May the Force be with you, George Lucas." And it's weird because even this letter kind of embodies the thing that I noticed about this first foray into the fan magazine for them, which is that there's a very like corporate, like marketing vibe to this magazine.
Every article that is in here has at least 2 to 3 paragraphs of just pure corporate spin.
Like ad copy. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's pretty atrocious.
Yeah,
in that way.
and I think eventually we're going to see this grow into like a real magazine with like topics and stuff. And there is like 1 or 2, like one of the ones that we didn't get into is like a retrospective by Anthony Daniels of being in all the Star Wars movies. But I like didn't do that one because we haven't gotten to all the Star Wars movies yet.
Sure.
But I thought this next one is particularly interesting because it gives sort of like a snapshot of what Lucasfilm as a whole is up to. It's called Looking at Lucasfilm, and it's a really interesting article. It's by somebody called Robert Allen, and basically it's just saying what's going on, and it almost feels like an investor meeting. But it also is interesting because it gives you all these factoids of like, you know, we were just talking about like, oh, it's just Star Wars at Lucasfilm. How weird is that? It's like not at all just Star Wars, and it's like
That's why, like, in his letter, when it's like, you know, 2 new feature films, but they're also working to enhance the quality of entertainment that comes through from so many other sources. That's like a part that's true. It's like
you would be surprised.
That's the wildest thing is like they actually do that. Like
you would be surprised how
they actually elevate the art form literally by being a like production resource.
But not even that. Like, okay, I'll get to it in just a minute. So they first talk about Willow. They talk about Tucker, which is a movie about a car designer from the 40s. I think George like exec produced that one, and then Willow he like wrote the story or something like that. And then they say Indiana Jones.
Tucker, I don't even know what the fuck Tucker is.
A man in his
It's the
a
Coppola
man in his
film that
automobile.
they have one very small article about at the very end.
It's a
the
good-
last page.
It's a
Was it like a
decent
fine movie?
Never seen it. No clue. Probably not.
Yeah.
It's a decent movie. It's a real guy. It's interesting. It has like cars where when you turn the steering wheel, the headlights move. Kind of weird. But yeah, he's talking about Tucker. He's talking about Willow. They call it Indiana Jones 3 because it's not been named yet in 1987 in the fall. And it's talking about Steven Spielberg and George
When did
Lucas.
Last Crusade come out? 89?
89 or 90, yeah, something
I
like
love
that.
that movie. Anyway, so.
I like that movie too, but we'll someday we'll talk about that. ILM, they're talking about how ILM has 7 Oscars after 10 years, which is crazy. ILM 7 Oscars. But the movies that they list, it's like Star Trek 4, Inner Space, Witches of Eastwick, Roger Rabbit, Batteries Not Included, Star Trek The Next Generation, all ILM. Like
Right.
they're at the center of everything. Then there's Sprocket, which is like the sound one that's like similar to ILM,
Did they change the name of that?
to Skywalker Sound.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
Okay, because I'm like, that I know, but
have a-
Sprocket is like,
They have a
like
100
Jetsons reference?
They have a 145,000 square foot technical building at Skywalker Ranch that's being built, and I assume that's the famous.
That's
now
when it becomes that?
Skywalker Sound. Like
Sure,
building,
sure.
right? But they did Spaceballs, they did Captain EO, they did Star Tours, all through the same company. So that's also George Lucas. Then we go into the one that speaks to the thing we're talking about enhancing the quality, which is the theater operations. So first of all, remember how like now there's like IMAX and it's like crazy to go to a true IMAX theater
Yes.
and yada, yada, yada. Well, in 1987, there are 180 THX sound systems installed in the world. And now I can't think of a movie theater that doesn't have THX inside. I can't think of anything that doesn't use THX almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's so synonymous with a lot of the movies that we see in general that
Everybody knows if you say THX,
you know
can
the
hear-
sound.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
and that's Lucasfilm, right? And then also the TAP, which is the Theater Alignment Program, which is like, I guess, something that happened in the late 80s that finally started to make movies not look like shit. Like, let's say you live in a town that's maybe not Los Angeles or New York City, and you want to go see a nice movie in a nice theater in the middle of the forest somewhere, and there's like one movie theater that plays one thing, and you get the film, and it's like all busted to shit, and it's like a bad print and stuff now. TAP was like a quality assurance checklist that went along with the film, and like certain movies would be like TAP certified, so that like the final master that was in the studio like is represented by the film spool that like shows on the screen. So when you remember back to when movie theaters look like shit, that's because TAP wasn't like used yet.
Interesting.
And now it is. And that's what like standardized things like THX and TAP are the things that like standardized the movie going experience across America. It's like crazy to think about.
This article, there's like the licensing. This is so crazy because there are just like the obvious ways.
I'm gonna read I want to read the licensing.
I'm just saying like, I don't know, like maybe films isn't just what it used to be or whatever, but like this is like the golden era where like the most talented directors of the time were like, literally, let's make a company that makes movies better.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
We're going to make TV, film movies better. We're going to make them sound better. We're going to make what's in them better. We're going to make how you fucking watch them better.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that when you watch them at all the other theaters, they're of consistent quality. It is like nutso what he has done.
Admittedly, in a way, it's kind of what Nolan wants to do.
Yeah, he's the same. It's the same exact.
I don't know if he's nailing the sound aspect of it, but like he's trying.
Nolan, but like,
Nolan
does
is
he?
good.
I think Nolan just wants people to go see more things. Here, he's like, he made companies that do that. Like, does Nolan have a like?
He invented.
theater?
Well, I mean, we're in a much more.
Is it like the Wild West days? Where
Yeah, we're in a much more gracious era. But like, okay, like for example, Oppenheimer uses a type of black and white IMAX film for some of its shots that didn't exist before Oppenheimer, and he only was able to like. You should go see Oppenheimer in the Universal City Walk one because he actually did the references in the theater.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's super cool.
Yeah.
No knock against that. That is him doing a thing to make his movie better, and you can only want to make it better here.
Well, there's now a
Here
black
he's
and
like,
white film stock for
Same
IMAX.
thing with James Cameron's underwater cameras and stuff like that.
But it's like, yeah, I mean, how many
like,
maps
literally,
can
they're
you
like,
make?
we want to make sure that
Right.
like the fucking weird ass boonies theaters are the same quality as like in a major city.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just like, I think it's just like I was just saying, like, how many maps of the world can you draw?
I'm saying, like, remember how we immediately could never go see Oppenheimer in that theater. It was like just unseeable. It was already booked solid for its entire run.
Right.
So it's like, that's cool that exists, but it sucks because like,
But
It's limited,
But
yeah.
we did get a new type of IMAX film out of it.
But what Davis is
Yeah,
saying
black
is
and
that,
white.
you're telling me I never got to see it.
yeah,
No,
what Davis
it's
is saying
there.
with
It
ILM, they
exists.
were like more mass
Right.
to the people than compared to like, we have to find this one specific theater just to really appreciate the thing we did.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you have to think about like the fact that like you could do anything at this time and make $1 million because
Sure.
it was all new, and it's basically the birth of our entire movie culture. Is things like Star Wars, Jaws, and Star Wars like started it all, which is crazy. And then so the last thing I want to read you is the licensing segment of this, which really drives home the point that it's 1987 and not 2023 when it comes to Star Wars. This is remember how I was saying that this is supposed to be like an investor dialogue type of thing? This is their plan for licensing on the 10th anniversary of Star Wars. Ready? The 10th anniversary of Star Wars. Licensing translates the motion pictures and television shows produced by Lucasfilm into consumer products and promotions around the world. The key here is to find the right products for each property. Recent
Dude,
arrangements.
the first one they just mentioned is really the right products.
Yeah, recent arrangements have included signing Tonka for a major toy program on Willow. Panasonic.
So your first example is like Cars.
So
for the fantasy.
Well, Tonka makes toys. Tonka makes chunky toys.
But they're Tonka trucks, bro.
I thought they just made the Cars.
Yeah. Panasonic to use some of the Star Wars characters for their advertising in Japan. Rarities Mints to mint gold and silver Star Wars coins commemorating the 10th anniversary. And of course, the
I want some of
return
those.
of the Lucasfilm fan club has made quite a few people happy, which is this magazine. So that was part of the 10th anniversary celebrations. Willow licensing also includes major publishing commitments from Ballantine, Random House, and Marvel Comics. Also, Lucasfilm has licensed the Mind Eye Press to produce a new Star Wars 10th anniversary poster by artist John Alvin, whose work has appeared on the movie posters for E.T., Gremlins, and Blade Runner. The poster can be obtained for $9.95 at a P.O. box. Like,
Amazing.
That's the 10th anniversary plan for Star Wars.
But you didn't include the video games, bro.
Oh, the video games.
I looked up these video games.
If you know, but nobody knows about Coronis Rift, the Eidloon, Labyrinth, the computer game, PHM Pegasus, and Ball Blazer.
I'm going to let you know right now, Labyrinth, the computer game, looks awesome. I looked all these up. There's videos of every single one of these games online. It looks awesome.
LucasArts does not.
By the way, the John Alvin 10-year anniversary poster is
it's sick.
actually fucks.
That's pretty cool.
I would love this and I'd frame this. This is sick.
$200 on eBay right now.
Yeah.
Not bad. Look, it's a sick poster, but the point is mailing in for a Star Wars poster for $10 is not what would happen for a 10th anniversary.
No, you're right. What game just had a 30-year anniversary and it was this is what you do? Yeah, I get that that's it, but
it's they made a coin. We just made a coin for our Chilluminati show. We just made a coin where a podcast has been around.
But
for
a
5
coin
years.
is so very old school. The idea of printing a
you
a
just
coin.
said it's almost been 10 years since we did the New Canon book club. Maybe we should.
You want to make a commemorative Swanakback coin? I'm going to actually find out when the first episode of that came out right now because that is very interesting to me. So that's what I got.
Cool poster.
I was just so amazed at where Lucasfilm was at. They were about to revolutionize the movie industry in 1987.
So I don't think any of us are covering the Anthony Daniels bit, right?
No.
Well, I will say, because I was obsessed with the part that you were talking about where it's Star Wars is going to be huge in Japan. The fact that the Anthony Daniels section opens up with him being my travels to the Orient. I'm oh boy. And it's you would think he'd be going to the Orient for vacation, but really, he's working for Star Wars. And you're okay. All right. Yeah, it's a different time, different place.
By the way, we started in 2015, which was 8 years ago.
Okay, so we're getting close.
We got 2 more years.
Yeah.
And then we can mint a coin.
We're going to mint our silver and gold coins.
Yes.
Wait, hold on, though. I didn't read all of, I skimmed through some of the Anthony Daniels stuff. I just totally skipped over the part where he was I went to Japan and they love robots, so droids are huge for them. I never thought that mecha and all that stuff are they the heroes?
Japan loves Star Wars. Star Wars is huge in Japan even now.
That's that shirt you and I both own. The Star Wars shirt. Star Wars.
I always see that like on the webcam and it's me and you and I'm always yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But it's funny because you know how I was talking about Boba Fett being in every single thing for a while? Get ready for the Boba Fett years of Star Wars. Inside the Insider, Anthony Daniels talking about his experiences in the C-3PO suit is the Boba Fett of
just a lot of Anthony Daniels.
The dude just loves to talk about being C-3PO. I have his book that came out 2 or 3 years ago. That's
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember there was another feature that I read. I remember the issue. I probably still have the actual issue of it from the other Star Wars Insider. And I don't know. The dude just loves talking about being C-3PO.
Mm-hmm.
Bless him. He's a sweet man, but there's a lot of it. He's funny. He's a good writer.
The man found his guy and
he has a witty voice. He's a fun writer.
He's what's his face? Who's oh my god, Mario, the Mario actor.
Bob Hoskins.
No, the voice actor. Who just
Charles
retired.
Martinet.
He has that vibe where he's he does press tour for Star Wars as C-3PO and he just loves the character and
yeah.
So many. It's kind of refreshing because so many actors Harrison Ford hated I think Han Solo because of how popular it was, and it's great that he's just I love this character.
Sure,
people love me for it, and I will do it for
Well, when he gets out of the suit,
life.
when he gets out of the suit, Harrison Ford is fucking Harrison Ford, and when Anthony Daniels comes out, he's fucking a guy who didn't get cast as Doctor Who.
It's the same thing with a lot of voice actors. They're thrilled to be.
Did he not?
I mean, he's not Doctor Who.
I know, but I'm looking at him. I'm he looks like Doctor Who.
I know.
He could be
It's
a Doctor
good
Who.
joke.
Did he
It's a very
try
good
it?
joke. No, no, I'm just really clever.
Yeah.
Okay, or you're a liar.
I mean,
Damn.
Sure. If jokes are lies, yes.
Lies for the soul, man.
Who's
Are you gonna tell us about Willow?
whose articles are chronologically next?
I mean, I can tell you about Willow, but it's not an article we really cover.
Yeah, we don't need to go deep.
Oh, I thought you did the Willow.
No,
one.
Willow.
That's me.
The Willow article literally is just like
press
next
release.
year, the greatest film you'll ever see.
Investors will love Willow.
Yeah, and it just it name drops a bunch of executives for no reason. It is like Alex was saying, it's clearly some sort of investor thing. It's not great.
Okay, well then the next one is me, which is the 10th anniversary convention, which sounds fucking sick. So, to commemorate the 10th anniversary, they had a big convention. It was May 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So I was exactly 16 to 19 days old.
Right in the Star Wars.
I was born May 7th, 1987. So this is like, and it was in LA. I was born in the Huntington Hospital
Your
in Pasadena.
birthdays
So
are really close to each other.
Yeah, we
we're
are
babies.
11 days away. Maybe babies.
Our parents,
Maybes.
11 days and like some years apart.
It was
banging.
a crazy fall. Yeah. Or I guess end of summer.
Halloween.
That's how it is, dude.
Halloween
That's
night.
like when sun's out, hormones up, vitamin D,
Sun's
and
out,
also
comes
the
out.
other D.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
Sun's out, comes out.
Fuck.
It's not good.
That sucks.
Don't
That's
say
not
fuck.
good.
Don't
What
say
was the
fuck.
other one? You were
Don't say
saying the
fuck
other
like
day?
I snatched
What
a
was the
grand
other thing
idea.
we just? No, I love it. What was it? Didn't you have a great one before?
Yeah, it was sun's out, comes out.
No. Oh man, you had a great bit the other day. It was so good. Anyway, so yeah, at the Stouffer Concourse Hotel in Los Angeles, there was like
Is that even a big hotel?
I don't.
Stouffer Concourse?
That sounds like a
doesn't sound like
small
a
ass hotel.
I bet you. I bet you that's like was rebought like.
Stouffer's Hotel?
Like it's now some other thing. I didn't actually look it up, but so they did like. And man, it's been forever since I've been to like a hotel convention, but back in the old days, yeah, they just did like a 3-day convention. They had all kinds of panels, different people there, like Anthony Daniels coming in. They were talking about
Of course,
stuff.
Anthony Daniels was there, bro.
There was what I loved about this article also was the way it was written. So they were talking about like people that were like people dressed up in costume, but like all manner of otherworldly creatures roamed the inner corridors of the hotel. Rebels, stormtroopers, villains, and heroes walked together in peace during this weekend of celebration. Nothing could have deterred these adventurers from happily filling rooms to capacity to see such people as Anthony Daniels, Gary Kurtz, Peter Mayhew, and Billy D. Williams talk and answer questions about their experiences before, during, and after their work on the Star Wars saga. The whole thing was written like that, where I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, articles I feel like they don't have as much playful prose. And so it was just fun, like to just, this whole thing is very playful. But on the last day, or no, I guess Sunday. So the second day, they had like a big dinner and George Lucas, they said,
What? Are
What?
you fucking kidding me?
This has to be like small, right? This can't
They
be.
had a banquet and George Lucas came?
this is like his first appearance. First of all, look at him.
He looks like Lando Calrissian.
He has like black pants, like a black button-up shirt, and like a white sports jacket.
He looks like if you
He's got a
dressed-
fucking
80s as hell.
Ronald Reagan belt.
The belt, yeah.
And he's just like holding a cocktail, and he is like,
It
fuck
looks
yeah.
like if you went to parties, instead of wearing suits, you wore like doctor coats. Like,
But just even the angle of the shot.
yeah.
He's in the crowd.
Yeah.
He's like it isn't some sort
He
of.
looks like he's about to sing. He looks like Rick Astley.
Yeah.
They did one. So they had it was just like fucking BlizzCon, where they had like a costume contest. They had a comedian that like did open up the crowd, and he just did like, they were like all sci-fi fandom. He just did like jokes about sci-fi fandom. Everybody loved it.
Crazy.
Then like some producer came out to like, publisher from the old like fan thing. This was like some of his favorite letters. One from Carrie Fisher, because she couldn't be there, but it was like a fun thing, like roasting George Lucas and just saying nice stuff. And then like it was like, oh my god, something was going on. Like C-3PO and R2 came out. They're like, sorry, something's going on here. Vader showed up, and
What do you mean Vader showed up?
Vader crashed. He literally like
he crashed the party. That's so funny.
He crashed the party. Like
Stormtroopers came in and stuff.
he was doing bits about how like he was pissed off that he was left out of the Star Tours ride at Disneyland, and he was like, he came here to meet the only man who was like more powerful in the Force than he was. So then George Lucas came out and they like
Vader, what are you doing here,
like confronted him, and then he just like
I'll put you
was
in.
toasted. It was like his birthday. They had like a giant cake. They had like
For Vader?
everybody like cheer. No, for George Lucas. Like,
Oh, I thought you were like, it's Vader's birthday, canonically, May
Why didn't you
24th.
celebrate
No, it was
my
like
birthday?
I guess I don't know. I think it was like birthday for Star Wars, like the 10th anniversary. So C-3PO and R2 presented him with a letter, like a giant letter that everybody at the convention signed.
Oh, that's cute.
And there's even a picture of fucking Gene Roddenberry being there, they're shaking hands, him meeting George Lucas for the first time at this thing, which is like just
And it just
wild.
looks like a conference, like Ballroom C.
It literally looks like the Sistine Chapel in Ballroom
Like-
C.
It's just like,
Also, for the record, George Lucas's birthday, May 14th.
oh, okay, so
Damn.
it's close, but like I don't know, like look at how fucking happy. I don't know, like I was reading this and like I went to like Star Trek conventions in fucking San Francisco, but not at like the convention set. Like there's a special place in my heart for like small conventions, but that this was like the 10-year. This was like the first time he came out. It was like this huge thing before. Now conventions are like industry in their own. It just was like so cool. It seemed like this is really novel and special, and like everybody that was there was like hardcore fans from when it was like not as easy to be like a fan, and everybody was into it. And I don't know, it was like this is like sounded so sick, and just like a really cool special event that I like. There are certainly more probably important, if I had a time machine, events to go to grow as a person and learn about the human condition. But if I could, I would fucking grab you guys. We're gonna go crash this party.
Great.
And like be there and just be like,
If you need a modern analog, it's the difference between the very first BlizzCon and what BlizzCon is now. The first BlizzCon was so small. All those people that people like have no access to now were standing feet in front of them. It's the exact same vibe comparative to 40,000, 50,000 people now. Same thing.
So they had like the models there's like a shot of the show floor. They had like the models of the skiff and other stuff and other Lucasfilm stuff. Their like banners are like what, like the high school dugout or like churches or like schools. They don't even have like the custom banners that you go to like a store to print. It's like literally just those
I don't
like
think you could
weird...
print them at the time.
Yeah, no, I know. It's so interesting. You're like, that's what they had.
Yeah, that's
like,
what it looked like, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what attendance was.
They don't.
Probably like 1,000.
That's what I'm saying.
Max.
I bet it was.
Max.
Yeah. Was CoxCon pulling in bigger numbers than the first Star Wars?
sponsored
Like,
by-
Probably yes.
I'm here for that.
It was sponsored by Creation Convention, Starlog Magazine, but they don't say
How many people were actually there?
no. But yeah, that's so cool. So that was
love
the
that.
first one. That was sick. The second one was just so weird. So it was like Star Wars, a 10-year tribute, and it's weird to put halfway through this magazine a tribute, just a general tribute to Star Wars that should have probably been
Page
first
1.
thing?
Yeah.
like, but they did the Lucas thing. I'll just like read it out loud because it's not that long.
Yeah.
And Star Wars 10-year tribute. When Star Wars opened on May 25th, 1977, no one expected to be treated as the greatest cinematic epic of the decade. It was it was as if stories like the Iliad and the Odyssey and other ancient myths had been updated for the 20th
Who wrote this,
century.
Lucas?
George Lucas himself.
That's actually like keeping with what he used to say.
Yeah.
As soon as the words "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away" appeared on the movie screen, we were all swept away into another world. It was a world filled with heroic rebels gallivanting through space in an attempt to unseat the evil emperor and bring ruin to his oppressive empire. We were also introduced to the Force, which is being described by Obi-Wan as an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together. The Force can also be thought of as a belief in oneself, a message Lucas felt all young people needed to hear, not as a lecture, but in the form of an entertaining galactic fairy
An
tale.
old man, an old green man.
There's a whole
sticky bastard.
generation growing up without any kind of fairy tales, explains Lucas as to one of the reasons why he
trying to
made
save
Star Wars.
motion pictures.
And kids need fairy tales. It's an important thing for society to have for kids. Now entering 10 years later, the fairy tale chronicling Luke Skywalker's transition from farm boy to Jedi Knight and his ultimate destruction of the evil emperor, sorry, I'm just totally not having a good job with this, is still alive and well for the child in all of us to enjoy. So it's like a weird thing to be the halfway point of this, but with the part that I was like, fuck off, was when he was like, it's a fairy tale for kids, and kids need fairy tales, which is why I made it.
That's 100% not true.
No, what's truer is when the guy's like, it's like they took the Odyssey and the Iliad. He literally was like, I was fascinated. I studied like mythology and I became obsessed with mythology. So I wanted to take like the sci-fi books that I loved and like make a mythological thing out of them. And this is like the first time that it's now, he says kids like 7 times.
That's what I was going to say. Is this the first
like,
Star Wars is for kids?
But this is why like a weird thought I have is like, he made this and it was sick, but people were like, this is a great thing for kids. Like it wasn't treated as like serious, heady stuff. And so instead of him just being like, fuck off, he's like, I made it for kids. It's for children. Because I'm like, it's just not. Something happened and now that's what you say.
Probably Ewoks.
It's made
Ewok
for like
toys.
It's made for like wistful 20-year-olds.
Got more and more. Like I imagine it was from a wistful 20s, like was he in his early 30s or late 20s?
I have no idea. He was born in 1944, so he was 33 when it came out.
He's like the perfect, it's like the a thing, like a revelation that somebody like made for me. Maybe it was fucking one of you guys where they're like, Sandlot. Oh, there are these movies where it's like, those are adults writing movies about kids speaking their nostalgia. And you're like, what? Oh yeah. That movie isn't like written by kids. That's like written by like 40-year-olds who miss like
being a kid,
playing baseball with their friends, and doing whatever. And it's kind of like this.
Have an average readership of like 55-year-olds right now in 2023.
What?
Comic books.
Oh yeah, because
it's the same deal.
It's just like when you watch it, it's like he loved these things, lit up his imagination as a kid, and he was taking all of his like film and story knowledge to like raising them up, and they are like tales for all time because the Iliad and the Odyssey were tales for all time. I don't know what
the talk the childlike to the adult,
but there's no way that Empire Strikes Back is a movie for kids. It's just not.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Neither is A New Hope. Yeah. They're not like,
but kids can enjoy them.
Yeah,
but it's not for kids. It's insane to say.
Yeah.
The most kid friendly aspect of this entire franchise of the original is like the Ewoks are when it becomes to be like,
we're selling some toys. Yeah.
But like, and the droids are like kind of cute, but even then the droids became cuter after.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
And like, just like C-3PO, like the beeps and boops are kind of cute, but like some of the droids are like fucking scary.
Yeah.
IG-88.
We don't like that.
I don't know what that guy's about.
What do you got?
Okay. So the first one that I had was Inside ILM.
Yeah.
And it is straight up, apparently, John S. Davis or
Uncle Davis.
Apparently, either he or in the future, there'll be more of these. This is posed as sort of we're going to spend time every single issue diving deep into ILM. And so this first issue, this first article is straight up. Do you know what special effects are? Let's explain it to you. It has some amazing lines written in here. It says, for example, it's not possible to make a person fly or defy gravity, so we create the illusion of flight. It's not possible to order up natural rain or snow on cue.
Well, you see, I can't have the script on the day.
Right. It's like, it's not economical to transport people to distant locations, so we film it on a set. It's basically explaining to people how special effects works, and then it breaks it down into like, there are special effects that are like, boom, boom, we're on set, or special effects that are like matte backgrounds, and it's trying to explain how it all works. But the most important...
Honestly, that's like sick though, because I think the average readers of these kind of things like are
kids,
younger,
yeah,
and like didn't like J.J. Abrams, wasn't this like his kind of thing? He would like read these kind of things growing up, and he like had a Super 8 and like went and did it.
He's like a baby Spielberg.
Also, like a lot of people don't know special effects. I have a lot of friends who like movies, but like don't want to watch behind the scenes. They don't.
Sure.
They like. I don't care. I like the movie. I don't give a shit how it's made, just that it's like cool. And so it's kind of cool that we're like, let's just spell out what all these things are.
Yeah, they even say they go deep diving a little bit more into the fact that like all this comes from the fact that way back when, and they use a lot of Star Trek 4 in this to explain special effects. We're like,
I think that was like hot at the time.
Mm-hmm.
What I kind of want to.
That was the whale one, like when they travel back in
Voyage
time.
Home?
Yeah. And so they were using a lot of weather effects. But anyway, they say like
86, yeah.
I really want to go through and watch like all of the movies that they worked on. I'm sure I've seen a lot of the popular ones. but, like,
ILM's catalog, yeah.
yeah, just like to be like, whoa.
You've definitely seen like almost all of them.
right. And they say that like one of the very first people ever to use special effects in film was a French guy. I'm gonna hope his name Georges Méliès is how you say that. Méliès?
It's the guy from Hugo. It's the like dude who shot the moon in the eye.
Yes, yeah. And they're basically saying that a lot of what he did was less movies and more of I'm going to film me trying to do a special effect.
Yeah,
and so
yes.
everything he tried to do was less about creating a great story and more about
Spectacle,
I'm going to blow them away with something cool. And then they take that and transition that into there was a time period after that it was all about special effects, and that was the thing that ruled. And then post World War II in the 50s,
romance.
They were like, we don't want to see special effects. We want to see down to earth movies. We'd rather see something about gangsters or romance, like Alex was saying. And then, as it says here, it was in 1977 when Star Wars was in pre-production that they created ILM and brought it all back. They were like, we're going to bring back, which I don't know how true that is because there's a lot of films that were happening
2001
before.
is the most, like, to me, the watershed moment for like modern special effects. That shit is unbelievable.
That movie, like the 4K of that, it's wild that it's like a movie from the 60s.
It's crazy.
It's like you're like, whoa, this looks better than movies now. There's like a thing. Oh, I forgot where. But there's like a cycle that happens, and I forgot if it's like 20 years or 30 years. But basically, public shifts between wanting escapist, like fantastical media, and then it like that apexes, and then it becomes like really grounded, serious things, and it like
there's another like overlap to that I think is interesting because we did this in a sociology class years ago when I took that. But it's like, yes, you're absolutely correct, but it also relates to are people happy at the time? Is there recession? Is there depression? Or is everything? But also in a way you wouldn't expect because at first, if people aren't and like if it's hard times in America, for example, people want escapism, but at a certain point, the escapism doesn't work anymore, and they would much rather be told how bad things are because they're in the moment of how bad things are.
Yes,
and they can't like lie to themselves.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yes, it's like therapy. It's like it's like tarot cards of entertainment. It's crazy. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So it goes on to continue basically saying that ILM appeared, and in that they were doing hundreds of special effects shots. It was some of the most ever done on film. And then they just straight up give John Dykstra a portion here at the end where they say he's responsible for a lot of the innovation in that he learned to use a computer to control movements of a movie camera. And I guess he was working on a film called Urban and Regional Development. Or like he was working for the Institute of Urban and Regional Development. And he
just to like make like little like films. Yeah.
And they took that idea and it's called the Dykstra Flex camera is what it's called.
There it is.
And that's how they made all those crazy shots.
Great inventor of technology. The naming, the Dykstra Flex
Dykstra Flex is weird. But yeah, if you enjoyed the Death Star blowing up, that is Dykstra. If you enjoy all the shots we saw in Empire, Dykstra. Like, it's because he was like, I'm going to record stuff with a computer. I love that. I thought that was very cool. That is the first issue of this. Potentially more in the future, I guess, is what they're saying.
Oh, yeah. So, like, just more about
ILM.
What's going on at ILM?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then the craziest article called Collections.
Yeah.
By Adam Schultz. It is essentially, and I cannot believe what this says. Basically,
it's like such a different time than it is now with Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. It first off, it starts off like, hey.
Sorry. I'm just reading through this exact part. They showed this in the ILM. They used this, I think. This is the thing he invented while working for the Institute of Urban and Regional.
Yeah.
Like it was like
not
when it wasn't even part of movies, but then he was like, "Wait, we can do this to do like fucked up cool shit."
Yeah. I think that like Dykstra's contribution to the filming of these movies is incredible,
insane.
Yeah. But in Collections under Adam Schultz, the funniest part about this is it starts off with, look, we wanted to have this article in here because there's so many reasons to talk about the collectors and all the things you can do. But yeah, we want to admit a lot of it's for kids.
Yeah.
But like, okay. And then he goes on to say what I thought was crazy. He says, though new Star Wars items aren't being manufactured, you can still find memorabilia at some stores.
Yeah.
So in 87, 10 years after they weren't making any new Star Wars items.
Because they were like, the movies are done. The idea of an expanded universe is like
Makes no
not a
sense.
thing. Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
The whole like the Toys That Made Us does a good job of like succinctly talking about like how wild it was. Like you made TV shows for toys because there was like ongoing commercials, but like to spool up a whole line of toys for a movie that might not even work was like you just didn't do it. It was a wild gamble, and then Star Wars like just changed the game on that.
But we're still only 4 years out, really, and they're done. They're not making anymore. The first thing he talks about is like, hey, these are places where you can find Star Wars merch if you want to be a collector. 1, retail stores. Hey, we aren't making anything new, but you probably can find some stuff. And he says, I found some Empire Strikes Back curtains or sheets or something at a store. And he's like, that could happen. And he's like, toy stores? Look, most toy stores aren't going to have anything new, but they might have leftovers. And he says, Toys R Us, probably check that out. He also says, like, Kmart's a good spot. You can check out Kmart, which again is crazy. There's nothing new.
Tips. Yeah, it's just horrible tips. And it explains the drought, too. It's like, they were like, yeah, the movie that we made all that merch for is over, so why would we make any more merch?
Mm-hmm. And then he says, garage sales are a good place. Flea markets, pawn shops.
Pawn shops.
I've been like doing a new neighborhood walk, and the other weekend there were 2 different garage sales, and I like went to them looking for like good pickups, good merch. I didn't find any like, I'm always looking for like retro gaming or like VHSs or stuff like that. Sometimes they have those, but yeah, that's like still the place to get. Some of them, people are like terrorists and they write their names on shit. And sometimes you're like, you didn't take this out of the box? This is like a fresh April O'Neil?
Yeah.
Sick.
He says, hey, go to science fiction specialty shops. You have to look in the phone book to find them because there aren't many, but there could be one near you if you live in a big city. Then he says,
he's not wrong.
Science fiction conventions are the place you should definitely go. But the last one that I think is the most interesting is it's pre-eBay. He's like, okay, what you do is if you're in a big city, write into a newspaper into like a wanted ad, but say you want people to send you or you're willing to buy Star Wars stuff. And if you're in a big enough city, there will be people who are willing to sell it to you.
He's not wrong. Those people exist still to this day. They're just on the internet now, yeah.
And that is straight up the entire article is like, if you're trying to collect Star Wars merch, this is it.
It's like just there's no scene. It's just like junker.
How to get all the extra crap. And what's crazy is in 4 years from this, Star Wars is everywhere again.
It's heir to the Empire.
Everywhere again.
Yeah.
Expanded universe is blowing up. Suddenly, when I was a kid in the 90s, that like... I'm trying to think. I was like 6th, 7th. I don't know what. I was still being elementary school. Toys R Us. At that point, you were getting Legos. You were getting Micro Machines. You were getting new figures. The expanded universe action figures were so cool, and they were coming out of nowhere. And unless you were into Star Wars, they weren't being bought up as much as, the episode 1 where we were like hoarding them. You could find whatever you wanted, and there was so much of it. It was awesome. I had like so many cool Thrawn things.
I had Chewie as the bounty hunter when he's in disguise as the like black chrysanthemum bounty hunter. Yeah.
13-year-old Jesse. I can't tell you how many Mara Jade things I had. Oh, man. Just absolutely in love with all of it. And it blew up. And it's crazy to think that right now they're like, well, there's nothing really being made. Yeah, it's crazy.
Go put an ad in the paper and beg someone to see if they'll give you some Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Good luck, fans. But I mean, I guess this is the beginning of that probably. The 10th anniversary seems like they like started the wheels turning again. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see next time we do an episode of this.
But there is a drought. I mean, no matter what, there's a 4-year drought.
At least. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, really interesting. That was really interesting. That was the first episode of Inside the Insider.
It's sick. Like, I remember reading stuff like that as a kid and thinking it was like special treasure of like knowledge. And I agree. I don't know, like, not a ton of this has blown. Like, reading about this 10-year anniversary convention, I didn't get like new knowledge of it, but it was just like
just
a cool
the
like
idea
time
of what
capsule.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, like it just seemed, I don't know, like maybe it was a publicity stunt back then, but because it like there isn't the industry that there is for appearances and this kind of stuff, it felt really like that.
I would
was
lose
George
my
Lucas's,
mind.
like,
I would lose
first-
my mind.
It's his first public appearance for something like this. Like
George Lucas and Gene Roddenberry shaking hands,
Meeting-
and then Darth Vader shows up. Are you kidding me?
like literally they did like that shit. They make a whole temple where like Vader comes in and like takes over the kids shit.
Yeah.
Like they just like did a whole thing, and it like seems like it actually is out of love, and it sounds like everybody had a good fucking time. The person that even wrote this goddamn article wrote it.
Like, woohoo! Yeah.
Heroes and villains walk together in peace. Like
peace,
I don't know, just it's fun. It's sick.
But it also, what's funny about it is it does have a lot of that where it's just so joyous. And at the same time, it's like, here's an article for the upcoming movie Tucker.
Yeah.
It's
Good. It's about 1940s cars, kids.
Yeah, like it's so, they're clearly trying to find themselves. And this was like issue 1 of something.
Yeah.
And why it becomes Star Wars Insider makes sense. Because a lot of this
Ditched
is
all this shit, and they just throw Indiana Jones in the Star Wars one because Harrison Ford's in both of them, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. Anyway, that's Inside the Insider. We'll be doing these, if you like them, every time we do an episode. So every time we do an episode, there's one of these on the end. This one's a chunky one because it's the first one, but they're not always going to be this chunky.
Like we always talk forever, so
It's going to be.
probably
It's supposed to be 15 minutes long. So this one's not, but they usually are. That's what you should be used to. You should be ready for 15
we
minutes.
gave you some extra.
Don't think they're going to be 15 minutes because they're never going to be 15
Don't
minutes.
say they're
I
never
don't
gonna
think
be
you guys
15
want
minutes.
them to be 15 minutes. I don't want them to be 15
Why
minutes.
are you breaking? Why are you break? Why are you?
Why are
making
you
this-
lying to them?
Why are you making?
Davis is a man of the people.
You know we can't only talk for 15 minutes about Star Wars.
Do you want to know what customer satisfaction is? Do you want to know what it is? Under promise and over deliver. That's all it is. A little
And
lesson
I'm just-
from me to you.
I'm
And you're
just-
like, no. Just say it exactly how it is, and if you mess up, you've let them down.
I believe in honesty.
Yeah, I see that.
Transparency.
I see that.
It sounds like you don't.
I see that. I'm having a rough day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you next time, Star Warriors. I hate that.
All right, Swag Box, you're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Fasciani. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening.
Attention please. Star Tours Flight 1119, non-stop service to Endor, is now ready for boarding at gate number 1.
Swag Box Episode 11, Inside the Insider, has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence. Issue 2, you are clear for takeoff. Original publication date of winter 1988. This is Control. Thanks for listening.
What's up, you space bastards?
Whoa. Whoa.
Hey, welcome back, damn it. Is that good?
Is that the Ben Hamish?
Hey, welcome back, damn it. To
Listen,
Inside
you
the
little star
Insider.
bastards.
You star.
I've had it all the way up to here, you little star bastards.
I'm about to force you to listen to this show.
Oh.
Me and the other Star Trekkers.
This space bitch is about to open up a can of whoop ass.
Oh, you mean Star Wars?
Star Wars. One word.
Right,
Star Wars.
right.
Welcome back to Inside the Insider, episode 2. This is issue number 2 of the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine, which is the progenitor, like the before it was the Star Wars Insider, it was the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine, aka the longest investor meeting of all time. What we got is winter 1988. This is like slightly newer than me.
Dude, the cover of this is sick. It's like Star Tours. Is this
like
like
concept
concept
art.
art?
Yeah, it awesome. It looks like literally like they had it in their archive and they just like dragged it out and slapped it on the cover because it's just like a sick piece of
When
art.
did Star Tours?
I want this shit like as a poster.
When did Star Tours come out? Like as a ride?
1988, like literally 1988. Like actually, and I can just jump right into it.
Yeah.
I did the article from the cover. I did the Star Tours article, and basically it's just explaining to you what it is and how it took like 5 years to do, and it mentions that until now Star Tours was like a Hollywood like Star Maps type thing, and then now it's Star Tours like Star Wars.
Wait.
Is that
Oh my fucking god. Is that what it's based off of?
I don't know.
100%? But they like
Because Star Tours are like
You can
they
do it in
drive
Hollywood
around
right
the-
now, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it does hit all the like planets you love, and oh my god.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
It's right in front of us.
it really doesn't, like, and I don't know, maybe you guys have it different because you're reading like fan letter or whatever, but like, you're probably gonna agree with me. Like, this is like an internet, this is like a fan blog from like the official Star Wars blog before that even was a thing. Like the most basic stuff. Like if Coca-Cola had like a blog, it would be like this. It's literally just like fans are all over the world are excited to try Star Tours.
it's extremely corporatized in
Yeah.
a way that we're not talking about
Dude.
the many other pages that are just like, Willow, you love it, or here's an
movie.
executive.
Tucker.
Yeah. And the Star Wars things are very much, here's a Star Wars thing that you're going to love it anyway because that's why you're buying this magazine.
Yeah.
But really, the rest of it'd be like, Coke, you know that we're giving you delicious sodas, but did you also know of our philanthropic efforts? And it's like, I'm here for the sodas. I don't know that I need, you know? It's
Yeah,
like-
exactly.
This does have like the era vibe of when they like did like Force Fridays and they were like doing all the YouTube. Like it does have that level of like corporate backed fandom.
Yeah.
So
it really is not like journalism yet. There's not really an idea of a polished fan voice like that. I'm sure that stuff was going on in like mail zines and stuff at the time.
How long did these last?
It's this version of it before it becomes the Insider, you mean?
Yeah.
There are 23 issues of this.
Did they get into LucasArts? Does this go into the 90s?
100%. Like they were already talking about it in the previous issue. Honestly, I'm going to read you some stuff about this, but like, yeah, once they realize it's not going to work as a Lucasfilm thing, then they make it Star Wars. And then they realize people are going to like Star Wars no matter what. So we might as well like entice people to actually pay money for this magazine. You know what I mean? They really are like kind of deciding to make it into something more like Sports Illustrated or something where they really are making a proper magazine. But this feels like something that's free almost. It feels like you mail like 5 cents towards something and you're just like good on it because right now
it's not long. It almost feels like, have you ever gotten one of those like magazines where they then also put like another promotional magazine in there?
yeah, that's what this feels like.
Because it's only 16 pages.
It feels like I bought like a Star Wars game in like 1990 and then
This was
in the-
included?
yeah.
Oh, I love this.
And actually, I was wrong. It was 1987. And let me, I'm going to read you like a couple excerpts from this article just so you guys can get a sense. January 9th, 1987 was a warm, sunny day in Southern California, perfect for the gala event being staged at the entrance to Tomorrowland. Disneyland actors dressed as Star Wars characters performed dances, mock battles, and story skits to the accompaniment of John Williams' familiar themes. Then, C-3PO, played by Anthony Daniels, and R2-D2 came on stage to introduce Michael Eisner, chairman of the Disney Company, and George Lucas, who were to cut the ribbon to open the ride to the mass of people lined up and waiting impatiently to get in. But R2-D2 had forgotten the scissors. How on earth are they to cut the ribbon, wailed C-3PO with Star Wars fanfare preceding him. Mickey and Minnie Mouse came to the rescue with a
If they
lightsaber.
if he launched scissors out of this thing and like Luke like flipped and
Jumped.
caught him,
Yeah.
I'd have been like,
The greatest thing that ever happened. No, Mickey and Minnie came to the rescue with a lightsaber, which Lucas and Eisner used to zap apart the ribbon and open Star Tours for the world to experience. Love the old-timey language on lightsabers there. And then I just want to read this other part because I don't want to say there's no fan service going on because there is a little bit that they're like working in and acknowledging things that are happening. And so I want to read this part because I thought it was interesting. And also I want to say it's weird that one of the features that they explain in this is the calamari guys that are like up looking down over you because that's probably like the cheapest and like least cool looking thing in the whole set, but it's like one of the main things they mention here as like one of the cool things, which is really weird. Anyway, here we go. As you wind along in the looping line, the Star Tours Galactic Tour Company runs travel ads on a huge status screen. And by the way, this is the old version of Star Tours.
This is pre Allison Janney?
Yeah, this is pre like multi-movie version that they made eventually. But that's interesting because of what I'm going to say in a minute. Star Tours is the leader in galactic sightseeing with more flights to Endor than any other space line. The line then takes you you past the droid repair area, and at last to the loading concourse where you wait to board your shuttle. The 4 identical shuttles can handle up to 1,600 people per hour, and contrary to persistent rumors, the ride inside is still the same in all 4 star speeders. So that's pretty interesting, right? Like what they're saying is, we have heard the rumors that people think that depending on which one you get in, it's going to be a different ride film, but that's not true, you know. And they're just kind of putting it there.
Now, is that them lying or?
No, it's not them lying, because
now that's definitely.
But that's
true.
what I mean. Like at one point, remember, it was the one with Paul Rubin, who plays Rex 24 or whatever, who it's mine too. And it's 5 minutes long. You do the same one every time. And they don't even actually spoil it in the article. They just say, like, you're supposed to go to Endor, but what happens leaves you breathless. You're like Luke Skywalker, but you come home safe every time. It's like that kind of thing. But that one was just the same ride every time. It was like a handmade, like Lucasfilm.
They are smart to try to get it out, because like how many like little urban legends you believed about stuff.
Oh my God.
And this seems like the easiest one to be like, oh, but if you go on this, it's, you know, them just being like, don't be weird about it. It's all the same.
It's funny too, because it's like eventually that rumor, which has apparently been around since the ride opened, right? Probably because of that, they eventually made it. It eventually became what the ride is.
Sure.
They also, in the old ride, I haven't been on the ride, and they used to have like all the other destinations as like decorations. And so I think as a kid, I probably was like, oh, maybe one day I'll go to, like, you just think you'll go to there even if you never do. And maybe that's also why they were like, just so everyone understands this is the ride.
Now they're adding like Baby Yoda, Mandalorian one, Ahsoka one, Andor one.
The continuity is a little off because as you walk through the winding, as you described it, sort of pathways, there's a giant board that, much like if you're in an airport, it lists all the flights and times. And one of them is still, to this day, Alderaan. And it says permanently delayed or whatever it says. And I just want to say for the record, if this is post Return of the Jedi times, a little insensitive on their behalf.
Like, Jesus
or
Christ.
is it a like, remember Alderaan? Like,
I guess, but permanently like delayed is like a weird
they just
vibe.
like never took it out of the like central
Put a heart-
station,
put a
like,
heart there.
train thing.
Yeah, like I don't know.
What is interesting, though, I just am now thinking about this. The idea, the Star Tours being like, it's just supposed to be like a trip, but it goes haywire, totally aligns with the comics and where they're like, it's a luxury cruiser that goes through pirate fucking territory and you will die.
This has occurred like 3 separate times already in our very brief reading of everything so far.
You would just like never go, you just wouldn't do this in real life. You're like, oh, what? Actually, in all forms of expanded universe so far, it's consistent. If you're on like a luxury passenger cruise, you are going somewhere super dangerous.
Yeah.
This also made me think about, and I know this is insane to connect, but Fifth Element.
Yeah.
When they are on their cruise ship.
Lost in Paradise.
Right. And I was thinking about that compared to Star Wars. In Star Wars, you get aboard your ship and you hyper jump, right? Mm-hmm. But in that movie, they all go to sleep. And my question is to everyone, this is a homework for people at home. How much time passed in that movie? Because why do they need to sleep? Because usually it's a lot of time passes where you have to sleep.
Right.
So if you go on vacation in that film, was it like 10 years of a vacation?
Yeah,
how does that work?
Did they take like 2 weeks
it
of sleep?
doesn't, because there's other stuff in the background happening.
Sure, his mom calls him at multiple points and she didn't.
Oh my God.
My assumption was that like nobody likes airlines, so if you have the ability to just like
Go in
wake
bunk
up
and
and
sleep.
you're like, cool. When you wake
You
up,
just think
you'll
it's
be
like
on
a 5-hour
Paradise.
flight?
I can't sleep on planes because I just can't get comfortable or whatever, but I would absolutely take assuming the science is figured out and you kill me, I would be like, yes, I will sleep through this till I go to the actual Paradise
I mean,
part.
I guess it makes more sense because in Star Wars, all space travel is bus. You're on a bus.
Yeah.
But there was a cruise ship, and so I guess it makes more sense. But it just hit me like, why were they sleeping? But I guess that makes a lot of sense, the idea that, yeah, all right, it's a luxury thing, and they want you to get there. Star
also an
Wars, you are in
extremely
a
dangerous
crappy
way.
space bus.
Also, they don't really ever give you any time in the movies, but the books and the comics, in the last set of comics, they were talking about when they were going off to go on a mission or whatever. A couple times they were like, and there was nothing else that happened for the next couple weeks while they were traveling. So you're like, okay, so these trips,
They just like do chill for a month. Yeah.
actually, they do like live on the ship. It is like a like an RV or something.
But
like,
realistically, in the tone of the time and just being able to look at those comics and look at the books and look at the movies, like there is no way that at any point George Lucas was making this ride and was like, I wonder if it checks out with the lore.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
There's also the idea that since this time, especially 1987, people nitty-gritty the hell out of Star Wars. There wasn't. Now, if you look at Star Wars, there's speeds of hyperspace travel. that wasn't a thing.
No,
That
it's
wasn't-
magic. It's freaking
Yeah. Now it's like, oh, this is a
stuff.
0.5 hyper. No, that's a 0.7.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. all right.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got, Davey?
So mine was the fan forum, which was basically just like,
Fan mail.
fan mail in response to the first one.
I figured that would be like pretty interesting as a idea.
It is
The
so
most human part of the entire magazine, I would guess.
It's so interesting. It feels a little cheaty. I know the future of Star Wars and seeing everybody's. I guess at this point it's 10 years or something.
It's 1988 at this time.
So the movies
Early
are out, but
1988.
like people have no idea about the future of it. But it's so interesting. Like you were talking about how corporate this was in the first one, so I was kind of reading that initially with that, like, oh, these guys are just playing into the corporate hands or whatever. But then I'm like, actually, hold on, let's undo this. So they of course publish all positive letters because they asked for people's feedback.
Nobody's
and
going to be
whether
like, hey, fuck you.
yeah, they're not going to be like, this sucks. So everybody is over the moon about this.
I can't wait for Willow.
And especially because a lot of them came from the official Star Wars fan club, which I think was who ran the one that like the precursor.
So there was
to this.
Bantha Tracks before the Lucasfilm thing, and that was like a newsletter.
Literally, that they published that guy's the former editor of that in this, talking about how much he loves this, but. Everybody loves this. They want more. The interesting thing that is like, I always take everything for granted. Like Star Wars, I think changed fandom forever, right?
Oh, 100%. It was the one that brought it all into like being like a mainstream thing.
And this reminded me of an era because in my lifetime, and yours as well, video games went through this. There was a guy talking about, I loved all this stuff. You forgot to mention like the Droids cartoon in this. And also if you could give some coverage into the Star Wars commercials for Panasonic from Japan, including photos of them and scripts and stuff. My assumption is that they like shot some extra stuff.
Amazing.
That to them, Japan's Star Wars commercials contain something new and different that you want to see. Is like when I was a kid and even into my teens, to see footage of a video game that I had been excited for, I had to go get a magazine and hope that they would have, and you'd get like 3 screenshots of like Ocarina of Time, and that's all the fuck you had.
And you'd get
for years.
And you'd get hype. You'd dissect it.
You cut them out.
Yeah.
You put them. Yeah, it was like, and seeing basically throughout all this, because they asked if people want what the hell is that thing? What's the ads that you put where you put an ad in a paper and other people can respond?
Oh,
confidentials?
No. Classified ads.
Classified ads. They were basically like, because they were giving tips on how to like collect in the post.
They were
production
like
era,
call people,
and
yeah.
like and everybody's like, please put that section in here because
we would slaughter that. Yeah.
well, and
I wonder if they will.
yeah, that reminds me how like sometimes even today I'll just go on eBay and just.
Look, yeah.
I'm not even there to like necessarily buy
yeah.
anything, but just to get excited about
I
all
used
this
to do
stuff.
that all the time.
And now we have more merch than we could ever want. But reading people who are like as hungry as we used to be, and really like gaming is just the touchstone because game trailers in its early forms was the first time you could sort of like get on any kind of demand, just video game footage, unless you had the video game.
Right.
And my buddies in high school, we used to just like have that on the background. We were like hanging out and just like trailer or like cutscene from
There was
the
a TV
PS2
show
era.
There was a TV show on G4 at one point.
It
Like
was
back
literally
in the day.
just video game trailers.
Yeah.
Sick. And so seeing this era of hunger where people love it just as much as when the movies are coming out, but it's like they're not like making the toys at the same level.
They did mention that the Star Tours ride has some of those limited edition 10th anniversary stickers at their shop now. I was like,
do they?
oh, cool.
I want the 10th anniversary poster.
It's awesome.
Sick
It's
in such a
awesome.
good
Yeah.
classic way. Reading this got me like fully on board and excited about things, and like now with adult disposable income and so many different things
You got to
could
get that Savaggio Press
But
bust.
like I was gonna say, if I liked it more, do you remember that somebody gave me, I think like an Russian episode 1 Russian
yes, the nesting dolls. Yeah.
And I think it's no surprise to anybody that's listening to this. I don't like the prequels, but if that was like an original trilogy one, that would be like a coveted.
It would probably
possession.
be worth $10,000.
Yeah. I still have the reflective card from the Power Rangers live show that they gave to every audience member to like beat fuck Ivan Ooze or whoever was the like you held it up. It's it's like sponsored by Sprite or something, and I still have that as like a relic. And here people being like, oh man, I was like in fucking Ross or someplace and found like bed sheets and I like got them or something. Like I almost miss when it was that rare. Anything you had became precious because it was so rare.
It wasn't overly capitalized. It was still just kind of like its own thing. Just so weird. Yeah.
Yes, this is like a corporate thing,
but not
their
how it is
response.
now.
Like
Yeah.
this is pure, jaded, like
exactly.
just fandom, and it makes me smile. And it's
demand is higher than
despite
supply.
like the highs and lows of Star Wars. You guys, the best is yet to come, or well, because you're about to hit the expanded universe.
They have no idea.
Where it's like again, not all hits, but like it's made or it. When I was a kid, it felt like all passion, and all great.
I was buying Star Wars just like the movies.
And these guys are like, dude, hang on, 5 or 6 years of your time, you're
about to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get so
Just wait.
You're gonna
Just
get fed
wait,
so
yeah.
well. Oh, it was wonderful.
What do you got, Jesse?
Well, first off, I just want to say, speaking of collections, because that is, strangely enough, I think I'm reporting from the collector's desk over here.
Yeah.
Because last time I talked about starting collections and finding stuff.
Yeah.
And this time, we're deep diving collections some more. And I just want to say, going back to what Davis was talking about Power Rangers, I still have a legitimate box saved in a closet in my apartment when they used to have Nintendo trading cards.
Yep.
And you would scratch them. And there was a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out one where if you scratched it, you can knock out the character you were fighting. That's all it was. There was no actual real game. You just scratch and it's like, I got a KO.
Cool, yeah.
I have an unscratched one of those.
Yo.
And I will hold on to it forever. And I remember getting it like a convenience store when I was a kid, and it cost like 99 cents to get
Holy
it back.
relic,
It was great.
yeah.
And so those are the kind of things, absolutely. You hold on to them and they're amazing. And that's what this article is, where it's a follow-up to the previous article I did last time, which was teaching them how to find stuff. This time, it's talking about what things are worth. And my favorite part of this, because it starts talking about stamp collecting and the idea of how can a penny be worth $800, that kind
Right.
of thing. And then it does this. First of all, we should define the term worth. An item is really worth only as much as you're willing to pay for it, which is such a complete,
Dude, I read this article and that stuck out to me as like the most real. I was like, interesting that like a sales promotional material was like, let's be real.
Yeah.
This is only worth whatever. Yeah.
But it sets up the foundation for the rest of it, which is Star Wars merch is expensive now because we're not making any more. And
It's just the price only is going to go up until the market changes. Yeah.
And it's them going through the whole idea of we are not making any more merch. This is what it's worth right now. And if you find the real rare stuff, it's worth a lot. And they apparently had an official Star Trek and Star Wars pricing guide, second edition, which is crazy already that there was already a previous one.
Well, I mean, we're
and then they
10, 11 years in. Yeah, we're 10, 11 years in at this point.
And they talk about how if it says Revenge of the
Oh.
Jedi instead of Return of the Jedi, that's worth a ton.
Dude, I
And it is.
have like a 3D. Do you see like it's like a statue poster of the Revenge of the Sith thing?
Revenge of the Jedi.
Revenge of the-
excuse
yeah,
me.
sorry.
Revenge of the Sith would be very, very common.
Yeah, I do have a statue from that, and that was so.
You know what I do have that's kind of like in this vein is the episode 1 promotion from Taco Bell.
Yes.
I had to like, you had to like collect the little things, kind of like a Monopoly kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. And there was like plastic bits that went with it, and it was like a progress board. It hung on my bulletin board for like 20 years. And then I finally like put it in a box recently because I was like, I cannot lose this.
I think I have a Time magazine article or something where the whole issue of Time is just episode 1, and I saved that for some reason.
I bet you that's worth something.
The thing that's weird is I think because during this time and in the 90s, all of the expanded universe stuff was super rare already because the expanded universe, they're not going to make a lot of it.
Right.
And so
They're thinking it's niche at this point.
yeah,
They think
so
it's a
when
flash in the
episode 1
pan.
came out, they made so much stuff, it was worth nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
that was crazy.
they made, and I remember people running out to Toys R Us to buy episode 1 figures. And it was because they were like, it's going to be worth money. And it just never was because they made so many.
I'm on eBay. I just like looked up Phantom Menace promotional. There's a ton of shit. It's not very expensive.
Right. They just made so much.
And they're in great. Oh, they have like some Anakin pod racing like drink things that
I remember that. That's exactly
Oh my
like that's the
God.
Taco Bell. That's from the same promotion.
While
Sorry.
you're on there, what is the price for the Grand Admiral Thrawn expanded universe action figure?
Oh my God, you have it sealed?
I have one, but I don't think it's expensive. I think it's probably like 20
was
bucks.
it. What was it called? Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Expanded universe, and it's him with he has one of those lizard guys around his neck, and it's in a green box.
Okay.
I imagine it's not very expensive.
One of these.
Yes.
Oh, that's $20.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's probably like 20 bucks because again, they still made.
Dude, I wish mine was as cool as that Savaggio press.
They
but-
made so many of them that it wasn't worth anything. But what they're saying in this article is during this drought, which we talked about last time, there was just a merch drought. The prices have gotten crazy where they're talking about how if you bought a figure for $7 to $16, $50, now it's $75 to $400. Or if you bought the Jawa Sandcrawler for $30, now it's $150. Or if you bought the TIE Bomber, the die-cast TIE Bomber, that's $250 now. And that's incredible. And I can imagine those things are worth infinitely more now because of how rare they are.
The crazy thing is, I wonder if you remember like that video game prices got crazy and it turns out
It was
the people that were
inflated.
doing it
Yeah.
were like scamming.
Yeah.
I wonder if these official price guides are also
To the benefit of the people publishing them in some way.
I mean, that's
Very
what the
possible.
video game thing was. Yeah.
Very
it's like
possible.
the Magic the Gathering like card used or like secondhand market is like
a little shady.
when I was a little more dialed into it, there was reports where they're like, oh yeah, they would give like information about what was being printed again because that changes the rarity of cards and shit. And it's like, that's why we can't have nice things. I remember these boxes because as a kid, walking to the toy store, these were the ones and it was beautiful. I didn't realize, do you have the one with the 3D play screen?
Yeah,
The box becomes a diorama.
Yep.
And if it looks anything like this picture, it's
cool.
like sick.
I had him. And I
My
had,
Rick Ali only has a fucking voice chip.
I had him and I had Mara
Look at
Jade.
this.
And
It's
then
tight.
He gets the whole bridge.
I had Luke. I had Evil
God, I
Luke.
hate Rick Ali.
I had Mara Jade, him, and Evil Luke from Dark Empire.
Oh my
With like his like
God.
cool Sith outfit.
I had when Chewbacca dresses up like that bounty hunter.
Yo, that's a
Yeah.
cool one too. Oh, and I also had whatever the hell those giant Imperial guards that seemed like robots, but I don't know what the hell they
Oh,
were
the,
supposed
like-
to be.
the, like-
they had like the little things sticking out of their heads.
Yeah.
I had one of those guys
The
too.
old school ones.
Yeah, and those are the ones that I collected because in the 90s I was in.
On the Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as
Same.
a kid, that was my jam.
Same. Big same.
But going back to the article really quick, literally it just ends with the idea that having to explain to people, hey, it's expensive for a reason because we aren't making it, but also Star Wars is no longer the realm of kid stuff anymore. This is real collector's items. and
Everybody's serious about it now. Yeah.
they
It never was, but yeah.
yeah, they say it's memorabilia and now it's worth something. And so, hey, the thing is, of course, it never hurts to make a little money either. And it just might be safer than the stock market.
Hey, a little libertarian in there. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I hope there's more of these because I love them pitching the concept of how to find memorabilia, what memorabilia is worth. I hope the next one is them doing what that one guy asked, which is give us
Classified.
like classifieds.
Or
yeah.
I would love how not to get scammed. That'd be
Yes.
a great one.
Oh wow.
yeah. Interested to see.
There is like every single response was like, give us those. So I hope to see it. And I'm like, we talked about this a little bit before, but like this, I'm almost like this whole insider thing is like just as exciting in a different way as the books. Like
I'm really interested to see it like evolve into a publication. Like
problem-
right now, it's so sus.
we just have our thoughts on these things now on it, but this gives us some look into what other people thought. Yes, it's like all filtered through the company, so you're not going to get what the detractors really thought. But I don't know, it's like cool to just not only piece together the lore of the universe, but then also see the expanded audience response to it.
Yes, exactly. And it's fucking cool. It's just the art is cool, the pictures are cool, everything's like less cynical. It's just cool. I really enjoy it. And if you have a chance, I know that you can get access to these somehow. Like if you go out and look for them, I'm sure there's a big PDF out there that you can just get every issue of the Lucasfilm fan club. I don't know about the Insider. That might be like a little bit shady territory
Yeah.
since that's still in publication, but I bet you there's PDFs of these out there. So give it a look.
Dude, they have, you could, oh my God.
What are you looking at over there?
You can, I forgot about like fan clubs, or like magazines where it's like, oh, and if you write in and do this stuff, you can get a special 10th anniversary Star Wars jacket.
They also say during the collectibles thing, they're like, one of the most valuable collectibles is in the previous magazine we did, we released a Revenge of the Jedi poster. It's one of the rarest, most valuable things. So that's probably how they're like, now you can get a jacket.
So that Revenge of the Jedi poster was in the issue that we read last time?
No, in the previous magazine.
Oh,
Maybe
in
it was
Bantha Tracks.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, we'll do something with Bantha Tracks. We'll do like a best of Bantha Tracks eventually too, just because you can read Bantha Tracks. It's a little bit less formed. Like that's why I kind of did this, was because we're already going to start from behind and we need to catch up. So I figured Insider was better, but we should look at Bantha Tracks too, because it covers that time, that 10 years of no magazine. So we'll eventually go back and have a look, and we can maybe like look at like, oh, what were the theory? Maybe we can do a special on like what the people's theories were or something back in the day.
It's such a weird vibe because this is before instant gratification.
Yeah.
Where it would be, we're going to release a thing, then you send us letters, then we take time to correlate the letters, then we have to put them in this thing, and then like months go by.
Yeah.
And so, and then when you get it, it's like a joy to receive this in the mail.
It's like getting more Star Wars, even though it's like nothing.
Right. Yeah. And you're just like, yes.
Because your imagination is so primed at this time because you're just a kid, and I don't know, like you don't need much because you've never had much.
Honestly, I think during this time, it's not a kid vibe. Most kids probably moved on to other 80s
35-year-old
properties.
Star Wars nerds.
Yeah, this is the people who are super into it. And again, it goes back to what Davis was saying. It's never really been for kids.
Yeah, like if you're gonna purchase a publication, you're not a child.
You're not a child.
Yeah.
No child is gonna be interested in like.
Are the kids the ones that invest in those like commemorative coins that are
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
that were huge for everything.
Yeah.
Children gravitate towards coins with pictures of stuff on them. I don't know. But what an exciting thing. This has been Inside the Insider. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. And we'll be back next time we put out an episode with another episode of this. And we'll see. I'm so excited to see this magazine bloom into a real thing.
Yeah.
Very fun stuff. See you guys next time.
Bye.
See ya, you little space bastards.
Space fuckers.
Whoa.
All right, Swatbox. You're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Fasciani. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening.
Attention, please. Star Tours Flight 1119, non-stop service to Endor, is now ready for boarding at gate number 1.
Swatbox Episode 12, Inside the Insider, has been activated. Commence pre-launch sequence. Mission 3, you are clear for takeoff. Original publication date, spring 1988. This is Control. Thanks for listening.
Folks, welcome back to Inside the Insider, the show that's adjacent to our other show, where instead of reading all the Star Wars Everything in order, we're reading the Star Wars Insider in order, starting with the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine, number 3, spring 1988 edition. This is we're almost getting to my. I was almost born, and judging by the cover, which has Val Kilmer, what's his name, Mad Radigan.
That is his
Matt
name.
Mardigan?
Mad Mardigan, yeah. He's looking kind of sexy on the cover. I feel like this is like Willow release season 1, because we're still in
We're almost at, I guess if this is spring, we're almost at the summer blockbuster season,
Yeah.
where I assume.
I think it came out in May, right? It's funny because, like, I think of Lucasfilm today, right? And I think of, obviously, Star Wars, and then, like, immediately after that, Indiana Jones. And then after that, like, the only other thing I think about is, like, the 3 things that have been in this magazine.
Yes.
And it's, like, the only thing they talk about in here, and it's really funny. It's Tucker, Willow, and, like, what else?
The Star Wars saga.
Yeah, like, that's really all that's in here.
And Tucker and Willow didn't like blow up.
Yeah. No, they did not. Though Willow, like, is kind of tight.
Willow is like a cult classic.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
But it got a show.
that I've actually never seen, but then the show got like
I
canceled
I cannot
and
stress
then
this
like
enough.
destroyed.
The show was bad. Like
Was the movie good?
Yeah.
the movie is fun in like
It's
a
good,
campy
yeah.
80s sort of way.
It's like a 7.5.
And the show does not have any of that fun campiness to it at all. And so it's like,
Is
well,
it
then
like
why do we make
too
this?
serious, or what's the?
It's both ultra serious, and the first 2 episodes are like teens in love.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to see Willow. I don't want to see like these
like the
characters
Dark
I don't
Crystal-
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're like,
You know, obviously this is the Star Wars Old Canon Book Club, so we're not going to spend too much time talking about Willow.
that is most of the insider,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Seriously, like, it's so much of it, but like literally everybody's here for Star Wars. It's very obvious. So I just want to start by reading a couple of fan letters from 1988, because I thought it was kind of interesting. One of them very desperate, one of them very heartwarming. We're going to start with, and this is, they just have his name in here. I'm not going to, should I just not say
You can say his name and do like the Skinner thing of like Lisa S.
Yeah. Robert R. from Walworth, New York.
Oh my God,
Robert R.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, the director.
Oh, hey, I was trying to.
Yeah, it was him. It was him. He used to live
I'm
in
sorry,
New York instead of
R.
Texas.
Rodriguez is what you mean.
Yeah, R. Rodriguez. Robert R. Rodriguez. I really think your magazine is out of this world. Not only is it interesting to read, but it also expands my imagination and makes my dreams of being something real. My dreams of being something real. You see, I'm thinking of making some movies myself, and reading your magazine makes me see dreams can come true if you work hard and enjoy what you do. I thank you for that. I would greatly appreciate it if you would print a lot more about the new movie called Willow. Well, Robert, you got your wish. I'm very excited about it, and I can't wait until it comes out in May. Also, I know a lot of people like myself that are experimenting with home movies, and I think they deserve some credit for their hard work and determination. It would be terrific if you were the ones to give out credit to us. I think it would be wonderful if you rewarded these people by printing some information about them, maybe even have a contest. This would inspire me and I'm sure many others. Please consider my ideas and remember, you give many people the hope they need to make it. Thank you very much.
I mean,
Sounds like having a contest could give them a new hope.
Whoa!
I am curious about those writing at the time who were. I think we forget that we live in a different world. There was a period where, like, the nerdetry needed to be deep in the Star Wars verse.
Yes.
Especially at this point.
Yes.
Made you kind of a, like, social pariah in a lot of ways. And I feel like, while a lot of this seems like he's including Star Wars lingo, I almost am like, do you need a hug, dude? Like,
I think
what
this
is
guy
going
just
on?
really wants to win a fan film contest in the Lucasfilm fan magazine that doesn't exist, but that he wishes existed.
I mean, they choose what gets put here. So how representative is one that's like, yours is the greatest magazine. Please tell me more information about Willow, please. And Tucker, I heard that the car is the star. In fact, that would be a great headline.
That's a great
for this issue
tagline.
if you
Hi,
wanna
I'm
take
Michael.
it.
My name is Michael Davis.
I'm at this point.
If you know
what is
anybody who's trying to who's trying to like purchase a Sauvage Opress bust,
I'm only,
Actually, that's my topic.
I'm only like 9 months old at this point, but
I would
I love Savage.
more Star Wars.
No, I like. Yeah, I don't know. When some of these, I'm always like, oh, these are so like pro the magazine agenda, but the idea of like film contests and stuff is pretty like sick. It's
Yeah.
also like, how in a pre-internet era do you even know who's making those? How does this person see those videos? So you're just like, how would you do that?
I don't know. I know that there were video contests back in this day. I don't know.
Did you just send in your?
Yeah, you
tape?
send in the tape.
I thought but wasn't film reel and stuff like that like
In 88
very susceptible to like?
No, in '88 they would have VHS'd it.
or like a like a real.
Oh,
like
you could just like to tape it or?
Yeah, in 1988.
They had cameras that you would literally put in the cassette tape,
yeah.
and record onto it.
Oh, okay. I think I'm thinking of like.
1950s,
70s?
Yeah.
1955. There's also there's a letter here from Australia that's just like congratulations, and then there's one from Canada that's like congratulations. I don't know, like they're all pretty positive, but only one of them is like, please give me a contest that I can win.
But didn't one of the last ones that we read last time include something like, it'd be great if you made a wanted section.
Yes.
And then it showed up. So maybe we will get in the
and-
next one a movie contest.
It's true.
And they I think also in the earliest issue like we're like, would you like to see this? And so that was like a response to that.
Yeah.
And then don't they?
Maybe.
Almost certainly.
I have no clue.
I mean, Star Wars fan films are such a thing.
Oh, yeah, they're huge.
But I have one more I want to read that's also from New York, from Arlen M. from Valley Stream. This one's called, I'm just going to go into it. I would like to share with you and all the Star Wars fans something unique that happened to me and a group of friends while out in L.A. I live in New York, and when I heard about a 10th anniversary celebration of Star Wars, well, I just had to be a part of history in the making, which
Dude, it's crossover.
yeah, Davis actually talked about this celebration in episode 1, I think.
Literally in the top 10 lists of like, if I have a time machine and don't need to go back to visit like
Anything
important,
serious? Yeah.
Like if I'm like, no, my family or anybody listening, I'm gonna go there. If it's like, okay, but for real,
You have a
we're gonna
time-
go to
yeah.
like a Playboy party early
Yeah.
on. We're gonna go to this fucking party. Like
The one where
Your
Gene
priorities are
Roddenberry-
pretty straight. I'll be honest. I like it. Yeah, you know what's up.
there's like the answer that you want people to think about you, and then there's the real answer, which is like, I would go there to
The 10th anniversary Star Wars party. Take me there now.
I'm actually, I hope that never happens to you, because I have no doubt that you would get there and get so excited that you'd be like, and then remember in episode 1, and George would be like, what? And then the timeline would change.
Me?
Yes, you.
When have I ever been like so excited that I just like said wrong information like an anime character?
I feel like in that scenario you would be. You get drunk. They were at the hotel.
What you need to worry about me doing is trying to change the prequels.
sequel, yeah.
Like that's the real fear is you'd have to be like, you can't change any, you can't talk about the prequels that you hate.
If he wraps up the mystery in episode 2 and actually solves it, that could change the timeline.
Yeah.
We could be speaking French right now for all I know.
He's like, Doctor Who asks Davis where he wants to go, and he's like, to the 10th anniversary Star Wars party, and then Doctor Who just leaves, doesn't take him. Anyway, what happened to me was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I call it an evening with a Wookiee. Sunday night, my friends were seated in the hotel restaurant having a drink when Peter Mayhew, Chewbacca, walked in and sat down.
Nice.
My friends went over to talk to him and they struck up a conversation. During the course of the conversation, one of my friends asked Peter when he had seen the Star Wars Holiday Special last. For those who don't remember, it was on TV once in 1978 and then never shown again. Well, Peter said that he saw it just when it came out and would love to see it again. My friends told Peter that I had brought my VCR with me and my copy of the special. Peter asked if he could watch it. Well, with just a few close friends there, we spent the evening laughing, joking, and listening to Peter tell us stories of behind the scenes of the Star Wars trilogy and special. It was a
because
night.
he was in the special.
He's the star, basically.
Wait, they all had like
Yeah.
one or
It was a night like no other, an evening spent with someone who for the past 10 years was just an image on a screen, so far removed from the rest of the masses, but we had the opportunity to see another side, a gentle man, a man whose heart and spirit is bigger than his material body, which is, as we all know,
massive.
very big. That's just me being editorial. That's not part of this, but he's big. Peter shared with us memories that night that my friends and I will carry with us forever. I know that I will always remember the evening I spent with a Wookiee and also someone I call a friend. May the Force be with us all, always.
Yo, that's actually an incredible story.
What a magical,
Yeah.
awesome, sick.
Isn't that insane? That's that 10th anniversary party again.
This, you guys,
It's like the great. We have to go back.
Yeah.
we have to go back.
It's just us on the floor. We have to go back.
Me as Jack from
Yeah.
Lost.
We have to go back.
Kate.
We have to go back.
Who wants to go next?
Do you guys remember the web series Pure Ponage?
Yeah.
I had like a very similar experience to this, but with like early YouTube, like moving down to LA, being part of like the game station where I guess I met everybody there, and I did like a lot of event coverage, and like I love that web series. Like my friends and I loved that because we were like gamers, and it was about like a gamer, and we thought it was hilarious. And then I got to like hang out at an event with the guy that was Jeremy, like the main. We were like at a bar hanging out, and I just like chatted with him and chilled with him for like hours, and he was like a hero. After that night, I was like, LA is magic. I mean, I'm from LA, but I didn't live there for a while. I was like, the whole like beauty of it and magical, and just like hearing their story about like hanging out with Peter Mayhew, it just like reminded me of that and being like, man, I like know what it's like to like get a lucky chance hang with like a hero, and then they're like sick and they're like into it, and I don't know.
I would hope that after the decade of us goobering around, doing all sorts of weird stuff, there's someone out there who has like hung out with those boys. Best night of my life. I would be honored if I got one of those.
I have.
We have been highly accessible.
Yeah.
I mean, not since like COVID, but before, if you ever wanted to like get drunk with us or like do whatever, you had the opportunity. It was on you.
I have memories of specific people, real strangers, who I hung out with in the streets.
And
various
by
ones.
the end, they weren't strangers anymore.
Both vertical and horizontal in the streets.
Jesus.
At various levels of wellness and sickness.
Yeah.
It's been a wild time out there in the world.
I hope someone out there's like, you guys.
I don't know if I'm ever going to
changed my
rise.
life.
I don't know if I'm ever going to rise to the heights of the 10th anniversary Star Wars party.
No, that's never happening.
But I remember, like, there's that guy from Ireland who comes to everything. Remember that guy? There's lots of people who I've stayed up with in England till 5 a.m. There's one guy who he was like, take a picture of me on your phone, so later you look at your phone and you're like, who's that bloke? I've had that happen like maybe
Perfect voice of like several people at CoxCon.
like 6 or 7 of those that have happened in my life that are just so funny.
Yeah, man.
And I find him later and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he on my phone? I love it.
It completely happened that way.
Yeah.
Shall I do the next one?
Of course.
Take it away, baby.
I got to do the like 10-year later interview with Mark Hamill because I guess they've been doing like Billy D, or not Billy D. They did Anthony Daniels and This was just a cool interview, kind of like first just like talking about like what Mark's been up to in the like 10 years since. And I didn't realize because like, I don't know, it just seemed like after Star Wars he had like a couple different
He just
like parts.
teleported straight to
But
Batman.
he like moved to New York and did theater for a while. He was like he was Mozart on the like national tour of it. He did
Of Amadeus?
Yes.
Wow.
I remember seeing a picture of him in that Amadeus outfit.
Which is interesting because the guy that they got to be Amadeus in the movie, I always was like, that guy looks just like fucking Mark Hamill. And it's just like,
It's that one guy who actually like, yeah, he like actually would be at like any casting session where Mark Hamill would be.
Sure.
There. Yeah.
he did Hannigan and Hart, which is like a musical, The Elephant Man, The Nerd. He did like a bunch of stuff. They were like talking about like, well, how to get into acting. It was just like, he liked entertaining people from like a young age, but didn't like get into, didn't like take it seriously until he was taken to like a real like show, like a nice like Broadway show, and then like
It like
size and
unlocked.
scope. He was like,
Yeah.
because he was like, he didn't want to like be too open about it because he thought that would like be the kind of thing that like people would like make fun of you in high school for.
Sure.
And
He's
like,
not wrong.
He's like, I like to be the funny guy and like to like entertain people, but like he didn't think that was like a thing you want to be like, I'm going to be a theater major.
I got pretty darn,
yeah. And
like,
then
I
he
got
did.
pretty darn teased for that. Let's call it teased.
Yeah, but then he like did that and then just got like super into acting. He went to like the City College in Los Angeles as a theater major. I didn't realize like
LACC.
it just said City College in Los Angeles, so I'm not sure. I know like there's like PCC or like Santa Monica, so I don't know if there is just LCCC. But then they were talking about like I didn't realize he had like 100 TV credits already. He had done 9 months on a soap opera and 5 movies by the time like he did Star Wars.
Oh yeah, baby.
He like he just was like a working actor. Already
So
by
he
the
didn't
time
just like, this was his big, I mean, it was his big break, but it wasn't like,
it elevated him, but he was like
interesting.
doing shit, and he was young. I'm just like, that many credits is like wild that he had those already. So it was like kind of sick. But then they were like talking about his thoughts on like Star Wars and like, did he love it? Yes, like it was fun. The different like it was like on the first set like versus the other ones after they were hits, and he was like the first ones were like awesome because he just, unlike what the prequels would become, everything was real. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, it was so awesome to have the ships, the droids, everything was like real. He's like, I loved all the props. It's like candy for actors. You just get to like,
It's
it
magic,
just makes
yeah.
it so easy. It's like you don't even have to act. Then it was a hit, and then the other ones were like so interesting because they were kind of like, where is this going to go? And there was new creative development there, and he was like, because he's like, obviously he loves George, but it was weird because like George did American Graffiti and then Star Wars, and then we were all like, man, what's his next movie? And turns out he was going to stop directing, and I don't think he's directed a movie since.
At this point,
At this point, yeah, he's like, he just kind of like gave up, but like he was talking about how even he himself, like if he didn't do acting, he loved doing every aspect of production. He directed in college productions. He like worked all the different departments. At this point, he's like, I'm producing stuff. I'm writing stuff.
he
like
really is like one of those guys.
Yeah, he just
lifer. Yeah,
he loves the industry, like loves different stuff. He didn't want to like take the same parts, wanted to like do other stuff. Even
he's
though
like a legend. He's like it's like a true. He's in it for the game. He's like
Yeah.
he likes it.
yeah, he just like is a big.
And this is before his like voice acting era, right?
This is before
Which
he
is
becomes
crazy.
like the like most prominent voice actor
Somehow
ever.
I would it's almost like he's more popular now for the Joker than he is for Luke. Almost.
He like if the sequel trilogy hadn't come out, 100%.
Yeah.
He was talking about like a new film that was coming out called Slipstream. He finally got to play a villain. He's like, I want to play a villain for fucking ever. And then it's like, yeah, you're gonna play like the
most important, yeah.
next to Darth Vader, like one of the best villains or like of all time. So it's really interesting. And then there's just some really prophetic stuff like, hey, if George Lucas continues to make Star Wars films, do you think they can maintain the quality and inventiveness of the first one? He's like, oh, he could do anything. There's so much unused material that didn't get to. I'm sure he's going to do a great job with it. And there's like one. Oh, and when it comes time for George to make the last 3 films, would you be interested in doing it? And then it's just basically like, I like, actors are superstitious. We don't know, like, but I'll be like in my 60s then, but
Incredible that that's what they're talking about, and then that's what his life was.
it just is.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Talking about like fame, and it's a lot of actors.
It was way longer than I thought. I thought it was just the blue pages, and it's actually like, so much more.
No, and when you're as slow at reading as I am, it's even more than that.
It's the same amount. You're just slow.
It feels like time dilation.
I don't know.
And then you're just talking about like, there's some funny shit where he's like, it's crazy, like talking about recognition. He's like, I just get recognized. Like, I'll go anywhere and I won't even be in my like costume, and people recognize me, and you're like, motherfucker, you're just a dude. It's you have the same face as you. You also wear like khaki jackets that don't even look different than your fucking Empire stuff. But he's like, yeah, I go to like the airport, pick up my wife, and everybody was like wanting autographs and stuff, and you're like, what? Of course.
But there weren't that like Star Wars was the first one. Star Wars was like the
That's
one.
really true, yeah.
Actually, yeah, because some of the other stuff he talks about, he's like, I haven't seen them in years. Like, but he's like, I went to like a movie rental place and they have me playing on the screen when you go there, which is like, I guess movie rentals weren't a common thing before. Like,
they were just becoming
like VHS is the beginning of that.
They were just becoming a big thing, yeah.
So yeah, I guess like an old actor wouldn't just see his movies playing.
Yeah, and if you think about like, I don't know, like Marlon Brando or somebody like that type of movie star, they don't like go to the airport to pick up their wife. Like, like they never did.
In this story, he was like, she was late, so I had to like park and go to the terminal.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why he like.
Yeah, like he's like totally straddling like a different line. He's not like an old royal. I don't even know what you call it. Like Hollywood used to have like almost like a court.
He's like New Money.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He just happens to be that popular because he was in a movie.
And he's not like overly. He just is like very open about everything, even things that don't work out, or like he just is like seems like a open book about stuff, which is sick. So, celebrities are people. Celebrity worship is like a weird culture that we have, but it's cool that, based on his interviews and social media and the causes that he champions, he is like a good dude, like a person that means well and doesn't
seem very crazy. Yeah, he doesn't seem very crazy and selfish like a lot of famous people get, which is cool. I'm not gonna like say that he isn't, but like, because I never met the man, but like, it's really just crazy to see this era because he's like definitely like he's like us aged here.
Yeah, I guess he's
he's like 10 years after his 20s, right? So it's like kind of like in this stage of his career where he's like now seen as like a older grown up for the first time.
Dude, he's like, people still try to give me like young. Well, he's like, he went to do theater because one, he loves the vibe of it, but because like he goes where, like the best roles are, and he's like, movies they don't like, they're still at my age giving me like young Luke Skywalker roles. They just like want me to be the young hero, and you're like, I'm not. I'm older now. Like,
right? He's like wrinkly.
It's got a little bit of a crash.
It's time to. How many years out was he from Jane Silent Bob? Like,
oh my god, yeah,
maybe like 10 years.
So, yeah, that was
10 years out still. So crazy. But like 5 years out from maybe less from
The Guyver,
Batman.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. Tell me about collectibles.
Speaking of Hamill. So
this has been like your like recurring sort of like realm for some reason.
Honestly, the reason is because you give it to me.
I know, but it works.
Yeah. So they actually now have a legit wanted section, and in it you are allowed to write in and submit 120 characters or less for $5. Any type of, I either have it and I'm looking to get rid of it, or I want it. But some of the things on here, I just highlighted some of my favorite ones because they are amazing.
This is how Jarrett Kobeck found the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This one, right out the gate, newsletter for Mark Hamill. I don't know what that means. The Hamill Exchange.
What is the Hamill Exchange?
To Nicole Parsons. I'm not going to give the address. These are straight up, by the way, this is a different time. Every single one of these is a full name and full address.
You know those like fan accounts, like when you go on Twitter and there's like a bunch of fan edits of like.
Is this what you guys were talking about in the Zodiac thing about?
Yes.
Where like they're just people doing a locally circulated zine.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
And so this it literally has New Home for Hamill fans, the Galaxy Connections. There's all sorts of different
It's
things.
like a fan page. You're making an ad to get a copy of a fan page that you're a fan of.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
But then they also have things like, oh, wanted. I want the die-cast TIE bomber, new or used. But then they also have like, I have this thing. And like this guy's selling Star Wars stationery.
Wasn't there a Japanese guy in there?
Yeah, they're all over the world being like, yo, we want this stuff. My favorite one, though, is use the secret force from UFOs, ESP, crystals, pyramids, Life Force, the book.
That's pretty good, like Force but real.
Yeah, this dude is selling
That's
his
a
Force
great.
book.
I wish I had that book, like a book that's sold to Star Wars fans. That's like, what if you could use the Force for real? I love that.
It's like Buddhism.
Like the new guy, Eddie Griffin.
This is so cool.
Yeah, the guy that Alex is talking about is this dude just says he's from Japan, and it says by trade have many rare Japanese Star Wars items, and then it lists his name, and he's in Oklahoma, and it's just like,
That's so cool.
But then underneath,
How do you get protection for this? Like,
oh, it says up at the top, we guarantee nothing. So this was the time period before like eBay had its PayPal will guarantee, like none of that. This is early eBay days vibes where
you really were just like hoping and wishing.
I
and praying.
remember going on eBay in 1999 and getting an episode 1 poster, the very first poster from a movie theater that was like, it's not even, you can't buy this yet. I took this from a movie theater. I was like, hell yeah. Spent like $40-$50 on that on eBay. Never arrived. Contact eBay. Asked, and they were like, we don't even know who that person is.
Not
And I
our
just got
problem,
super
bro.
scammed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it happens.
Yeah, that's crazy. My buddy got like Western Union scammed one time from eBay where it was like, hey, you actually won this. The guy in first place like didn't actually want to pick up this item, so if you pay us what you wanted on Western Union, we'll just send it straight to you.
Oof.
Yeah, brutal.
But then underneath that, additional collectibles. And this is, you can literally write to the insider and
this is their stuff they're selling.
send them some money, and you will get everything from a Willow poster to the first Star Wars 10 years jacket.
The jacket looks. I don't know
Awesome.
what the It's psycho to me that the picture is not of the entire jacket.
Just the patch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it says that's on the back.
Yeah.
Which to me, like, it must be like one of those like with the piping like bomber type jackets.
Yeah.
Like that are puffy.
It looks awesome. And then there's also just straight up.
Is it as cool as the Miami Vice
the
stunt show
We're
jacket?
gonna bring back that Fall Guy reference again for the second time in the same episode.
And then insanely, there is a ludicrous amount of Willow merch. Like
there's
they
like
are
there's
really
like a baseball
hyping up.
cap, right?
There's
And a
figures.
game? Whoa.
Yeah.
What? Well, 88. They were
Willow
like
action
PC
figures.
games?
There was an NES game for
Oh, it's
Willow.
a board game. I'm a dumbass.
There was an NES game for Willow though too.
And then there's the Lucasfilm. You can get a T-shirt. There's a whole bunch of stuff on here, and literally you just say, you can submit a thing that says, yes, I want to join the Lucasfilm fan club. And you can submit that money. There's the club logo. There's the 10th anniversary jacket, $80. And then, 4 members add $5. And then you can get it in extra small through extra large on here.
That is so sick. I couldn't find the 10th anniversary jacket, but I did find on Etsy a vintage
Star Tours?
foil and like light blue piping Star Tours, like with like the bomber neck, like a members only style. Fuck. Look at that thing.
Like, I'm just saying, Davis plus that hat.
Dude.
Imagine him walking down the street, ladies swooning.
Everybody like, is that
Men jealous.
Is that the Star Tours? And their knees getting weak and
Like-
falling down.
How hard would it be to like remake that?
What do you
Like-
mean?
Could you like pay a merch house like, hi, can you like I don't know how it's made. Like, can you get
Yeah.
like
Sure.
that's so sick.
Like, you can make anything like one if you want to pay enough money for it.
That's true.
I
That's how
really-
how all clothing works, actually.
I really can't find this jacket. It's actually...
I couldn't find it when I looked for it last time, and it is a bummer because it
I'm concerned that it doesn't exist.
it was a scam.
Not a scam, but like maybe they never made it. You know, like maybe they just had the patch because there isn't a picture of it there. So I don't know. I would be interested if you're listening to this and you have a picture of it, please send it on the Patreon. I know that you are listening to this on Patreon or you're a free member of Patreon. Just message me on Patreon, please. I want to know. Let me know. Does it look like Luke's jacket from the end of A New Hope? I want to know.
I must say, there's one for sale in this that I have questions about, and I almost feel bad. This person just says, entire Star Wars collection for sale.
Ooh.
Toys, masks, etc.
Ooh.
Long Beach, California. I hope that person, whatever was going on in their life, they had to get rid of everything.
Well, we can
I hope
drive
it
to their
worked out.
house and ask them if we want.
I mean, we really could, yeah. So it's wild to see. Again, this is straight up just...
If you didn't end up selling it, and you're listening to this somehow, and you still have it,
We know a guy.
just send a picture of what. Let's see what it is. You know,
Yeah, let us
nothing's
know.
off the table.
It is weird because this is this is in the 80s. And what would happen is you see this thing and then you'd write to the person.
Yeah.
And then they would have to write you back with images
And be like,
of
"Here
what
it
they
is."
were selling. And then
Yeah.
you'd write them back with whether you wanted to buy it or not.
That's why eBay's like incredible.
yeah. Wild.
I love this one right here. Seller trade Star Wars dolls, Yak Face, others, foreign issue toys. Incredible.
Yak face.
3 issues down, my boys. We still have about 20 issues before this actually becomes a Star Wars Insider, but
Wow.
I'm hoping that we're through
so quaint.
the years of Willow and Tucker.
It'll never be over.
I'm ready for some Howard the Duck. You know?
Oh my God. I forgot about Howard the Duck.
Do you think we're going to get far enough in for Red Tails to make an appearance?
No way. Is there? No, because by then it'd be Star Wars.
Yeah, but
Unless they're like, guys, Red Tails is
I
coming.
mean, there's not going to be a Lucasfilm fan magazine at that time. I don't know. We'll see. It's
guess.
all great. Thank you guys for supporting us on patreon.com/SWOCBC. We appreciate you listening, and we appreciate the support. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Swak Box, you're clear for landing. Inside the Insider is edited by Alex Del Campo and Alex Faciani. The theme song is Jupiter, Bringer of Jollity by Gustav Holst. Thanks for listening.